especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never
responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing experts have accused Canelo Alvarez of using steroids ahead of his fight with Terence Crawford. Concerns have risen due to his sudden muscle gain and history of failed PED tests. David Benavidez also weighed in, questioning why Canelo avoids fighting him if he's truly confident. He pointed out that 5 members of Canelo's team have tested positive for steroids, claiming the entire camp, including Canelo's, dirty, adding further suspicion to the upcoming bout.
Greatest Mexican boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, that he never got off.
You think about steroids?
Of course. Sure. How does 5?
You saw De La Hoya.
How do 5 people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? Right. You know what I mean? No, all those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said he came to watch me, the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about?" He's like, "Are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight?" In his head, Eddie Reynoso's like, "Fuck no, we not fighting him."
Yeah, of course. Honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah, but okay, 100 million, dude. You think you kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking warrior, bro. The only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. I've been smart. I'm negotiating my shit, but it's always a prize, bro. It's always, if I go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of money.
And I think that separates you too, David. And I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point.
Yeah.
How much you giving me?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to Morel as well.
Yeah, shout out to Morel.
To be active.
Eddie Reynoso's gym has come under intense scrutiny, with allegations that he provides fighters with performance-enhancing drugs. This includes Canelo Alvarez, who has previously faced steroid allegations twice. Critics highlight that multiple fighters from Reynoso's camp have tested positive, raising serious concerns about the training environment. As Canelo prepares to face Terence Crawford, many are questioning the source of his rapid muscle gain.
Pressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero has said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. By 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm gonna get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm juicing.
Experts note that building large amounts of muscle naturally in your 30s is extremely difficult. Yet Canelo's physique appears significantly bulkier than in previous years. This has fueled further speculation, especially given the controversies surrounding Reynoso's gym. Fans and analysts alike are beginning to wonder whether Canelo's transformation is natural or the result of Pez shaping high-profile fights behind the scenes.
For a 30-year-old, right? You remember, your body grows. Men's body can grow in height and length up until you're to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's remarks on Canelo Alvarez have sparked widespread debate in the boxing world. As a longtime voice in combat sports, Rogan highlighted how unnatural it seems for someone in their 30s to bulk up so quickly. He emphasized that muscle growth slows with a jand, that what Canelo has achieved is nearly impossible without chemical assistance. Given Rogan's knowledge and reach, his suspicions have added credibility to the conversation.
And Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, well, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, we should probably leave them alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
As the Canelo versus Crawford showdown approaches, steroid allegations are becoming louder among fans and analysts. Many believe it wouldn't be surprising if Canelo was using PEDs, given his access to elite trainers, facilities, nutritionists, and medical support. With such resources and the drive to stay at the top, critics argue the temptation to take shortcuts is reland possibly unpunished.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.
Floyd Mayweather has never held back when it comes to criticizing Canelo Alvarez. He's spoken openly about PEDs in boxing and believes people are too afraid to address it directly. According to Floyd, there's a double standard some fighters are scrutinized, while others like Canelo get a pass due to their fame and marketability. He insists that steroid use is not just cheating, but dangerous to both opponents and the sport's integrity.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. Y'all don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
In the build-up to the Canelo versus Crawford fight, PED accusations haven't come only from analysts. Fans from both camps are accusing each other's fighters. Crawford's supporters question Canelo's sudden size and strength, while Canelo's fans doubt Crawford's endurance and ability at higher weight classes. The tension led both fighters to agree to rigorous drug testing before the match, not just for official clearance, but to calm public suspicion. This situation reflects the lack of trust currently surrounding the sport.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random VADA testing in order to silence each other's fanbase and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately, namely Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now, it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been consistent.
Canelo Alvarez didn't always look like the powerhouse he is now. Early in his career, he was smaller, quicker, and more suited to welterweight. But over the years, his transformation has been dramatic. He not only fights bigger opponents, he dominates them physically. Critics are questioning how such growth has occurred so effectively and whether it's natural, given his age and the physical wear from a long career.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight, at like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, grandson of Muhammad Ali, praised Crawford's strategic preparation for facing a physically stronger opponent like Canelo. According to Walsh, Crawford has been sparring with larger fighters to prepare for Canelo's pressure and power. He considers this smart, not reckless turning a size disadvantage into a training advantage. Walsh says this calculated approach shows why Crawford belongs in the conversation with the all-time greats.
People with Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the buildup for that fight is just going to be absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight, it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Have you sparred any of them?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see it.
Respected boxing journalist Dan Raphael explained why Crawford took this fight, not for money, but for legacy. Raphael says Crawford wants to be remembered not just as a champion, but as a risk-taker who aimed for greatness. Beating Canelo isn't. Just a victoriette would be a historic milestone. However, Raphael also acknowledges the extreme difficulty. One mistake could cost Crawford the fight. He'll need near perfection.
I think Terence Crawford is a marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he could outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge could you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and a lot of those of us in the media. And I had seen him a couple of times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention. And he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A., all of us looking around at Media Row going, what the heck is this all hyped about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over, that the round was over in round one, or there might have been some much more trouble. Stephen A., that was 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobbled, rocked, physically, visibly hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring. with tremendous punchers. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes, do any damage? Yeah, he's a slick boxer, and he's also a good puncher in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent named Israel Madrimov. He gave him a good fight. It was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to edge it out. But if you can't hurt an Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is certainly a problem. You mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get his check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up to get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think, really tried.